I return to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Gregson is here. Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment. It would seem you have the upper hand. Right, you lot have got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with this petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Winterbank very nearly met it with his end. Yeah, by his own gun as far as I could tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. He's getting away! Get after him, lads. Whistle the beat officer too. How'd you let him get away? There were 3 of you. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we've fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in Mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is, mine. Sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. And so, we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Oh, could have ended the episode just a little bit later last time, but whatever. Sure, this one. Back to Baker Street. See, that's why I hate grown-ups. All they do is feed you a pack of lies and then take stuff away from you. Oh really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm? What? Oh my, surely you were given that. Yeah, the D let me have it, after I looked daggers at him for long enough. He went through the pockets and then said, go on then, have it, before telling me to scarper. Dear, always pays off giving people a look like he ate them. I can't help feeling that is going to get you into serious trouble one day. What I really wanted was that nice shiny disc, mind. The music box disc? Well, Mr. Winterbank said it was practically worthless. I think I'm going to have to go and have another bash. Give him a long hard stare. I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Winterbanks again today. Why not? That's not fair. It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement from Mr. Winterbank. But that disc's mine. I had the ticket for this coat, and it was in this coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what that rotten cove said, ain't it? I guess he did mention something about another article, didn't he? Well then, that's mine too. Whatever it is. Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day. Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes. So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening? Eh? Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. Did he get that back? I thought all this other fluff was going on. No. Oh, okay. Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your head or something? Oh dear, she's gone. Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. One more thing. I should be glad of your company later, too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you. Oh, how exciting. What is it? It wouldn't be a surprise if he told you, Sasato. You shall have to wait and see, Miss Sasato. Till later, then. I guess we can examine this area. Look at all the different things in the window of this shop. Ah, that's Windibanks. Pawnbrokery, yes, I know. It looks much smarter than a pawnbroker's in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally. Unapproachable? It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. I felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruhodo. That's it, huh? Store for rent, right next to it. I feel like this is going to come into play later. Oh, it's literally just down the street. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'd be happy to defend you, of course. I can't look up there at our own lodgings? Okay. Very well, then. I guess we're going back here. What a bustling place. So London is such a fantastic... Or are we? I guess, because it's the one that's still got the thing on it. No, this is where we're at. Well, we were asked to show our faces here, so okay. It's nice that they give you hints like that of where you need to move to next. That's a nice touch. Very helpful. Ah, Susie and Runo. Come in, come in. Good afternoon, Iris. Thank you so much for breakfast this morning. Why would I mention it? Goodness, look at the time already. Busy as always? I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening. Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you? Oh yes, after all, we have a special guest joining us. I knew it. Guess who it is? Go on. You'll never guess. Those little eyes of hers shining. Oh dear. It is awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it? It's Ginny! Isn't that exciting? What a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news. Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea. Can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional. Oh, yes, that does sound like fun. I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo? By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to? Early? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry? I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here. I don't know how to respond to that. I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything. Yes, I see. Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does. Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they? Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are. What's the matter, Bruno? You have ever such a funny look on your face? Oh, no, it's nothing. I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes, you're wondering? Am I right? How? How did you... Oh, Bruno, I can read you like a book. Oh, great. This girl is dangerous. Don't worry, you can ask me anything. I won't mind. So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilded case 2 months ago, right? Yes, who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, so she'll probably want that back, I imagine, huh? Although after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. Now we're the best of friends. Goody goody. Oh, what a lovely tale. I guess. Yes, now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can. Oh. And I chase after her down the back alleys. Interesting idea of friendship. And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed. Oh. There's so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow. I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you? Yes, that's right. I got bored of it anyway. Hurley always reacts the same way when I shoot him with it now. Or Hurley. Well, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. So excited. I just hope she does actually come. I'm sure you've been wondering why it is that I live here with Hurley, haven't you? Well, it has crossed my mind, and we did mention it about 2 minutes ago. That and where are your real parents? My Mummy and Daddy aren't with me anymore. Mummy passed away when I was born, and at around the same time, my father, well, he had to go to a faraway land because of one of the cases he and Hurley were working on. Oh, wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley? Yes. Daddy and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together. She didn't mention that before. He wrote them all up in his diaries. That's what's in the metal chest over there. Really? He recorded them all? So, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases? Oh yes. I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it? So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father. Exactly. Hurley told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look at it even more, so I opened it up. And found your father's memoirs. Oh no, his body's in there. Yes, so I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair. But then he told me, that's when I found out that the author of all those... Oh, but that's when he told me, period. That's when I found out that the author of all those accounts was my father. So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner. I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. You're tiny now, but... So, it came as quite a shock. When Hurley told me he wasn't really my daddy, I must have done. I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age. Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me. Oh? Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes. You should come to court next time. Right. Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories. Oh no, Hurley's hopeless like that. He forgets everything. As soon as he's solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind. Oh, I see. The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he'd just solved. The very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. It was quite a shock for everyone. I'd say that again. You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris? That's right, Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learned from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so that I could earn a doctorate as well. Iris's father, who went to some distant land, and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson. Jesus Christ, it's been so long I don't even remember what this guy's voice was.
It's the court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case.
The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right. Visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that case and why I was accused in the first place. Miss Susato. Yes. Perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time. I think that would be for the best. Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you. Mr. Sholmes. Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? Well, I mean, you saw us about 5 minutes ago. We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really? Do tell me, Mr. Sholmes, is your violin unscathed? My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear man? Oh, never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows. Oh, another music box disc. No, not another disc, Miss Sato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence. Mr. McGilded's disc. Oh my. Then what's it doing here? You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that, though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well be even more adept at larceny. Oh, that would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Runo could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught. Right. Plus Susie has such beautiful handwriting, she could write all our menacing crime notifications. Yes, I'd be delighted. I'm just gonna pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this. That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes. Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken. If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. We'll be taking that whatever it is, thank you very much, send it over. Oh yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate, yes. All this happened 10 minutes ago, can we please? For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes, you did, but I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I press the disc into a pair of bars like this. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. But what does that mean? It's sugar, suitably soft for making impressions but resistant to melting, the result of a precisely controlled solution. Like sugar and resin? How extraordinary. Sugar and soap? Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form as duplicate. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. There you go. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to recreate this. I confess I was most curious to know what manner of music would issue from the disc when played. Alright. Do tell us then, Mr. Shorns. What music does the disc play? Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea. And none whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not. Goodness, you don't know, Runo? Inside a music box, there's a special metal piece called the comb. That's what produces the sound. Small protuberances pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. First music box to be invented using a rotating cylinder with protuberances on it. But over time, a new type of player was produced. Wow, I can't read anymore. Which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe. Why exactly? Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes, but so could the cylinders. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result. It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music, even when no performer is present. But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. We have no way of knowing which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. I see. So that's why... Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. Results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe. Every single one? That's early for you, always taking things too far. But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Agnes McGilded, not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows, still, now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash, not a shred of evidence remained, and with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial, the newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case. I mean, we did have doubts about it, did we not? The murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed. Indeed. Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Ginny will be here before long. Thank you, Iris. Oh, well, you must let me help you then. Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do. I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. And now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes, you may be right. Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windibank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes's latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe. So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were as incensed as I was. Oh, yes. The idea of such a wonderful story languishing in Mr. Windibank's storeroom gathering dust. My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. Pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault. What about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure? Well, there may be an occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now. Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. What's going on here? Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room? Susie, what did you just say? You said The Hound of the Baskervilles. But how would you know the full title? Well, that's... Did she steal... She stole it? That's because Miss Susato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course. But Bruno, The Hound of the Baskervilles has never been published. What? When I showed Hurley the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet. I don't understand. That's why he said that he'd keep it safe, until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see. So that's why the manuscript is at Windibank's. And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Hurley, what's going on? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived. Oh, nice. Let's just segue away from all this. Miss Lestrade. This was a bad idea. I knew I won't welcome. I'm going. Just like that. No, wait, Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival, have we? Haven't we, Iris? Oh yes, just wait there, Jenny. I'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie. Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please, make yourself at home. Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some meddlesome? I won't take no for an answer. Meddlesome it is, then. That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Mr. Sholmes's violin performance was in no way meddlesome, and Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves, well into the night. Okay, I think we'll call it a night here. See you next time.